My name is Carsten Petersen. I work for Fundisi, a South African-based organization that supports fishing communities in mobilizing and organizing, in claiming their rights to the nearshore fishing resources. In terms of safeguards in fisheries, we do have some experiences from South Africa, certainly. First, I think it's important to say that, well, unfortunately, it's necessary with safeguards for the small-scale segment in fisheries. It's unfortunate because there's a huge pressure from the big fishing industry in South Africa and also in the rest of the world, and that this fishing industry is encroaching on the fishing resources that rightfully belong to small-scale fisheries. In South Africa, we have this long-term RTQ policy, which was implemented in 2005, and that basically gave all the fishing rights to the fishing industry. Just about 90% of the small-scale fisher people, they were excluded from fishing as a result of this new policy. So it's very obvious from the South African case that there was a need for some specific protection of the small-scale sector. Evident in South Africa, and I think also all other countries where ITQ systems or catch-share system has been implemented, is that the negative aspects or consequences of the consolidation of fishing rights is that a lot of fisher people, they're losing out. A lot of fishing communities are losing out. When 90% of these people are excluded from the sector because of an ITQ policy, it has immense negative consequences. It creates conflicts, it creates more poverty in communities that are already very poor. So what has happened over the last 7 years is that the fishing communities have mobilized, they've organized, they have fought government, they have fought the industry, they have used court cases, and they have won. Last year, the government endorsed a new small-scale fishing policy specifically for the small-scale sector. And this policy builds on several principles and concepts, and one of the important ones is this TURF system, territorial user rights, where in the nearshore zone it's only the small-scale sector that is allowed to fish the resources. So that is a policy mechanism that protects the nearshore sector, the small-scale sector, from the large fishing industry. Fishing rights will be allocated to fishing communities, and only the fishing communities or the fishing people from those communities will be allowed to catch fish in the nearshore zone, which means that the big fishing industry would be excluded from this zone. But still, there are conflicts because some of the species that fishing communities are dependent on are also caught by the large-scale fishing fleet under the ITQ system. So there's still a resource fight in that sense, and I mean that's you can call it an ongoing battle. It's not a battle that is solved just because there's a new small-scale policy in South Africa. The ITQ policies also have, I will argue, a negative consequence. A negative effect on the marine environment because fishing companies are investing in quotas, they buy new boats and equipment and so on, so they have to generate a lot of money, and they have to make profit for their shareholders as well. And in that process, the environmental consideration is often lost. The broader public is not aware of what is happening, is not aware of this threat of privatization of the oceans, privatization of fisheries, which ITQ and catches is basically about. It's and so I think it's also important to pass that message to the broader public and do what is possible to get greater attention on what's happening in fisheries today, because it's not just about fisheries, it's about livelihoods, it's about jobs, and it's about our environment. So it's something that more people should be interested in, certainly.